Thanks for staying with us. The Kaduna state government has now launched a special palliative program targeting 210,000 households in the state. At the launch of the program in Kaduna, Governor SANI reaffirmed his commitment to providing support that will cushion the effects of petrol subsidy removal on residents. Our correspondent Lupe Assam has more.
After being sworn in, Governor SANI formed a committee with government officials, the NLC and other critical stakeholders. Their primary objective was to explore alternative measures and develop palliative strategies to mitigate the impact of the subsidy removal. The committee have come to present their report to the governor upon completion. Using their findings, Governor SANI announces the launch of a palliative program for 210,000 households affected by the fuel subsidy removal.
We are targeting about 1,050,000 in Kaduna State. And that translates to about 210,000 households. The federal government promised to give every state 5 billion naira, which will serve as both grant and loan. So, but as of today, 2 billion naira have been given to Kaduna State. And the 2 billion naira is what we are using at the moment to ensure that we come up with something quickly to support our poor, underserved, and vulnerable within our state.
The governor outlines a three-phase approach for palliative distribution. This will see the distribution of 43,000 bags of rice, prioritizing the disabled, widows, and elderly in its initial phase. Initiatives like subsidized transport, fertilizers, and small business aids will form the second phase. Reviving the locomotive train for affordable transport will follow.
Kaduna State government also will consider buying some buses, because it's also very important. And when we buy these buses, we'll ensure that in the next 6 months, transportation will be free. Or subsidize. The first 6 months free, the latter will subsidize.
Members of the committee praised the inclusive approach adopted by the governor. Governor SANI stresses preventing diversion and disruption. He reaffirms his commitment to uplifting the underserved and vulnerable in the state. Lupe Assam, TVC News, Kaduna.
Kwara State Governor AbdulRazaq is tasking the newly inaugurated 12-member committee on distribution of the 5 billion naira federal government palliative in the state to ensure the distribution process is totally non-partisan, transparent and credible. The state government had set up the committee over the weekend, a day after the federal government announced the countrywide palliative. Correspondent Ibrahim Alege reports.
The 12-member palliative committee is selected from the different strata of the society, ranging from the security sector, the traditional institution, religious bodies, the academia, civil society, media to the public service. Their major role is to ensure balanced, transparent and credible distribution of the federal government's palliative in Kwara State. Inaugurating the committee, Governor AbdulRazaq says the palliative is only one of the many steps the government is taking to relieve people of the difficulties brought about by the fuel subsidy removal.
We trust you to be able to do a good job. Let Kwara be the shining example to other states. Let's take a lead. So far, other states have started copying our initiative on this, and let's make a good job of it and make ourselves proud.
To avoid a backlash, the governor advises the committee to be non-partisan and ensure that the rice is packaged for distribution in 10-kilogram bags.
Government would prefer that the distribution is done in 10 kg bags. Now, if we distribute 50 kg bags and ask people to share from one bag, you start getting funny videos online of people saying they only got 1 cup, 1 bag, 1 cup, 1 handful. So if it's not a 10 kg bag you've gotten, then it's not from Kwara.
In our response, the committee chairperson, who is also the Kwara State Commissioner of Police, Rotimi Adelisi, promises to be transparent and abide by the terms of reference of the committee.
I will promise that we are going to be very transparent. We are not going to let the governor and the state down. we put into consideration the people who are supposed to be giving this palliative, the deserving people.
The committee's terms of reference include to reach out to different stakeholders and communities, as well as to generate a list of beneficiaries that will be as representative as possible. The committee, among other things, will also coordinate and distribute the rice palliative in 10-kilogram bags, as well as advise the government on the best way to handle the maize component of the palliative. Ibrahim Alige, TVC News, Ilorin.
Just 2 days after assuming office as Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, former Rivers State Governor WIKE has revealed plans by the Federal Capital Territory Authority to restart the Abuja rail mass transit. Speaking after an assessment of the rail terminal, the minister disclosed that the rail mass transit system will be completed and commissioned in a few months as it's instrumental in reducing traffic congestion in the city. He revealed that funds for the rehabilitation and start of the rail system has been made available, as he assured that projects of this nature will not be abandoned. The former governor of Rivers State was in the company of FCT Minister of State, Meriga Mahmoud. Enugu State Governor has again restated that the state is open for business, supported by massive security and safety measures instituted by his administration. He made the call at the familiarization visit by the newly posted Commissioner of Police to Enugu State, CP Kanayo Uzuegu. Bamdeli Ajayi has more.
Enugu socio-economic programs, like other states in the southeast, were plagued by the enforcement of the sit-at-home order by unidentified gunmen, an issue Governor Peter Mba, upon resumption, identified as a clog in the wheel of progress that will reduce the speed at which it plans to drive the state economy. Days and weeks into the struggle of ensuring a safe and secured environment, Governor Peter Mba is expressing satisfaction with the efforts so far. At this familiarization visit with the new Commissioner of Police in Enugu, Governor Mba commended the security agencies in the fight against insecurity in the state.
We are taking this opportunity and with the mission you have expressed here to inform the general public, the investing public, that Enugu is open for business. Enugu is secure and safe for businesses and for investors to come and operate.
He explained the reason to champion a private sector-driven economy that is secured for investment to thrive.
Private sector could afford to take financial risk, they could afford to take commercial risk, but they are not in the business of dealing with insecurity. So if you cannot enable the environment for them to come, then they will not come. It's just as simple as that. So if we're going to grow the economy and we need private sector to come, we must address insecurity.
The new Commissioner of Police pledged the commitment of the command to guarantee security of lives and property of residents of Enugu State.
The people will come here and do their businesses, invest and create job opportunities for our teeming population. I want to have a state where a sense of belonging and unity in diversity. This is my motto and this is my vision and mission too. I want to, with my watch, to accomplish in the state.
The CP visit was heralded by the inauguration of new distress response squad vehicles to support the police operation and the fight against crime and criminality in the state. Bamidele Ajayi, TVC News, Enugu.
We're back with more stories after this break. Stay with us.
Lipton's flavorful and balanced taste. We pick fine quality tea leaves from selected tea gardens around the world to give you Lipton Yellow Label's flavorful and balanced taste in every sip.
Ondo State government says it has challenges with the food supply by the federal government to cushion the effect of removal of full subsidy on citizens. Hence, it engaged the services of vendors to meet its needs. And this is coming as some residents ask the state government to make judicious use of the 5 billion naira released to each state across the country to provide palliatives.
The impact of removal of petrol subsidy by the federal government is biting hard on the people. This explains why the federal government came out with relief packages to cushion the effects on citizens. ONDO State benefited from the palliatives with 3,000 bags of rice released to the state by the federal government. The state has also introduced some programs to ameliorate the suffering of the people.
When we didn't get the 81,000, we were shocked. But we quickly moved ahead to think, what can we do? Yes, the federal government has monetized that to us, but there's no rice anywhere. We can't easily get that. So what we are trying to do now is to call vendors to bring gari, beans, cassava flour, yam flour. They should bring it to us that we bag in small packs and use it to supplement the rice.
The senior special assistant to the state governor on agriculture, Akinlo, said government will provide input for farmers to boost food production.
Bringing in power tillers to help them in land preparation. We are bringing in seeds for them to plant. So putting all this together, invested in aquaculture. We are going to put the dam to very good use before the year runs out, by the special grace of God. So by the time we finalize our MOU, we'll be near Wena River Basin.
Some residents of the state want proper monitoring of distribution of the palliatives.
How the yardstick with which that will be distributed, I don't know how, because is this going to be through the public servants?
But putting buses for transportation, it can't go to some villages. Then giving rice to people, it can't go on to people, to some areas.
The Ondo State government says it is committed to transparent and equitable distribution of palliatives to cushion the effect of removal of petrol subsidy on the people. Ayode Jumoradeyo, TVC News, Akure.